Remember the three wandering dervishes, the ones with those wild, impossible stories, and maybe you recall the strange black dogs from before. If you don't, maybe go back and catch up. It all fits together in a strange, twisty way. Right now, everyone's at the Caliph's palace, waiting to see what he'll do after hearing the last story of this series. And tonight, we meet a young doorkeeper who's about to face challenges she never imagined, where even small mistakes could have big consequences. I am Al-Hakawati, the legendary storyteller, and today we start with the story of the doorkeeper. The Caliph noticed the doorkeeper's scars and asked what had happened. She explained that after her father died, she inherited a lot of money. Later, she married one of the richest men around, but he died too, leaving her another fortune, about 80,000 gold dinars. She became well known for her wealth and elegance, even having 10 beautiful dresses made, each worth 1,000 dinars. One day, while she was at home, an old woman showed up. She looked worn out from life, her face lined, teeth broken, and skin pale. But even though she seemed weak, she moved with a strange determination, like she had something important to do. The old woman came in respectfully and talked about her daughter, a young bride about to be unveiled on her wedding night. They were new to the city, and the girl felt lonely and nervous. She asked the doorkeeper to come to the wedding, saying her presence would cheer up the bride and encourage other women to come too. Feeling sorry for them, the doorkeeper agreed and decided to wear her best outfit and jewelry. That evening, the old woman came back and said everyone was waiting to see the doorkeeper's kindness. So she got ready, covered her face with her veil, and took her maids. They walked down a clean, freshly watered street, the air cool and fresh. They reached a beautiful gate with a marble dome leading to a palace that looked grand and peaceful. Inside, a fountain sparkled, surrounded by colorful flowers. The place felt calm and alive, like a secret garden in the city. The old woman knocked softly at the palace doors. When they opened, they stepped into a huge hall covered with rich carpets. Lamps hung from the ceiling, and candles lined the walls, reflecting off sparkling jewels. They walked further until they reached an even more stunning room, with silk rugs on the floor, soft glowing lamps, and two neat rows of candles giving everything a golden shine. In the middle was a gorgeous couch, decorated with pearls and jewels, and covered with a satin canopy. From under it came a young woman, her beauty shining like the moon. She moved gracefully and greeted the doorkeeper like an old friend. She said her brother, a handsome young man, had arranged this meeting so they could meet properly and with respect. When the doorkeeper saw him for the first time, she couldn't look away. He was tall, good-looking, and confident in a calm way. His eyes were warm, and he had a gentle but strong presence. They connected instantly. It was one of those moments where hearts just understood each other without words. Soon after, a judge came with 4 witnesses, and their marriage was made official. The young man had one simple request, that she stay faithful to him, and she agreed. That night was full of laughter, good food, and music. They shared quiet, happy moments together, wrapped up in the warmth of their new love. For about a month, they lived happily, laughing and enjoying their time together. Then one day, the doorkeeper asked her husband if she could go to the market to buy some new fabrics. He said yes. So she put on her cloak, took the old woman and a young servant, and headed into the busy streets. They arrived at a shop run by a young, wealthy merchant the old woman knew. She asked to see his best fabrics. He eagerly showed them, but instead of asking for money, he asked for a kiss. She refused at first. She was married and had promised to stay true. The old woman pushed, saying it was just a kiss and there would be no harm. After a lot of convincing, she let him plant a quick kiss on her cheek, but it wasn't gentle. He bit hard, cutting her skin, and she fainted from pain. When she woke up, the shop was quiet. The old woman was there, holding her and quietly saying how lucky it was that it hadn't gone worse. Shaken and scared, she walked home slowly, pretending to be sick so her husband wouldn't notice the wound. That evening, he saw the cut and freaked out, thinking it was an accident. He threatened to wouldn't punish anyone he imagined was responsible. She begged him to calm down, saying it was just a small accident, but he wouldn't listen and wanted justice, even if it meant innocent people got hurt. Scared, she had to speak sharply to stop him from doing something crazy. When he finally realized what really happened, he was furious and felt betrayed. He shouted, and servants rushed to follow his orders. They grabbed the doorkeeper from her bed, and she stood there shaking, terrified. Even though the servants were ready to hurt her badly, she tried quietly to reason with him. Her husband, full of anger, accused her of betrayal. She tried to explain, but he wouldn't listen. Feeling hopeless, she left it in God's hands, tears streaming as she thought about how suddenly her life had taken such a harsh turn. Then the old woman came back, running to her side. She begged him to see that the doorkeeper hadn't done anything worthy of death. Her words, full of care, finally got through. He couldn't fully forgive her, but he decided to spare her life. He still wanted a punishment, though, something that would leave a mark, a reminder of the mistake that led to all this. The servants carried out his orders, and that night they brought her back home, guided by the old woman. Alone in her house, she thought about everything that happened, her body marked by both pain and mercy, her heart heavy but still hopeful. She only woke at daybreak and started taking care of her wounds. For months, she stayed weak, the marks of her punishment still showing. Slowly, with care and patience, she used salves and medicines, getting herself healthy again. When she felt strong, she went back to the house where it all happened, only to find it completely destroyed, reduced to rubble, the lane gone like it never existed. With no clue about the rest of the household, she went to her half-sister for shelter. There, she found the two sisters who had been turned into dogs by the genie. She told her sister everything, and her sister comforted her, saying everyone faces hard times and praising that she had survived safely. They shared stories of past troubles, supporting each other without even talking about marriage or new relationships. A housekeeper joined them to help with chores and keep things running. Life stayed calm for a while. Then one day, the housekeeper went to the market and came back with a porter who joined them that night. Later, a few dervishes showed up, and finally, the caliph came knocking with his guards. Eventually, the caliph heard the doorkeeper's story. He couldn't believe everything she had gone through and how she handled it. They wrote it all down so everyone would know what she went through and how she got through it. The caliph asked the first girl about the mysterious lady who had turned her sisters into dogs before. She explained that she had given her a lock of hair, saying burning it would call her instantly, no matter how far she was. The caliph burned it, and almost immediately the palace shook as the lady appeared. She greeted the caliph respectfully and showed that the two sisters could be turned back to human form. With a little water and a few words, they returned to their original selves. Then the genie explained what really happened to the young doorkeeper and why she had suffered so much. It turned out the caliph's own son, Al-Amin, had caused her pain. He had set a trap because he was drawn to her beauty, but he married her properly and had right to enforce the oath she had made. Even though he had planned to punish her, he showed mercy and sent her home. The genie also admitted that the doorkeeper had acted a bit recklessly and ended up falling into the trap by listening to the old woman. Hearing the whole story, the caliph was amazed and relieved to finally know the truth. He called for his son, questioned him directly, and found that everything the genie had said was true. After that, he gathered the witnesses, the first girl and her two sisters, and arranged marriages between them and the three dervishes who had arrived with them. He gave them rooms in the palace and made sure they'd be cared for from then on. And the caliph didn't forget about the doorkeeper either. He brought her back to her husband, Al-Amin, renewed their marriage properly, and even made Al-Amin apologize and set things right with her. He gifted her a great amount of wealth and ordered their house to be rebuilt, bigger, safer, and more beautiful than before. He married the housekeeper too, giving her her own room, attendants, and everything she needed. People were amazed by how generous, kind, and fair he was. They wrote down everything that happened, every act of mercy, and every story, so people would remember how everyone found their way through those hard times. And so, that's how it all unfolded. The dervishes found their prides, the caliph married the housekeeper, and everyone settled into their new lives. Things finally found a kind of peace. Now I'm curious, what do you think of this story? And out of all the tales we have shared in this series, which one really stuck with you? Which adventure kept you thinking longer after it ended? I love hearing which twists and surprises stay with you. See you next time.